Hey folks, hopping on for a brief weekend cultural breakdown. I've been really trying to save cultural breakdowns for when a story goes viral enough, gets enough people's attention on it, and with this one, I've been monitoring it for a couple days and thought, all right, let's go ahead and talk about this. It is the claim of Springfield, Ohio, as you might have seen, the eating the dogs, eating the cats remixes that have been going around. This was something that hit X, Twitter, whatever you call it, earlier this week, and then former President Trump brought it up in the debate. It was fact-checked, and there was back and forth on it, but then immediately, a day or two later, that's not immediately, I guess, a day or two later, Trump, his comments from the debate were remixed by TikTokers. It went viral. I have some pretty catchy songs of him saying they're eating the dogs, eating the cats, and there's just been a lot of debate as to, is this even happening? Again, the fact checks immediately come out, and that's the part I want to talk about, is the fact checks, the reliability, the spreading propaganda and rumors and things like that. It's very important as Christians to tell the truth, to not lie, to not use falsehoods to make a point. I'm a big believer that if you try to make a true point, if you try to make a point that is right, but you use something that's false to make that point, you've damaged your credibility. You've hurt your ability to be trusted later on, and so it's really important to do that. And so with things like this, they're eating the dogs, eating the cats is a claim that's been made. It kind of stemmed from other things. There was the ones about the ducks and the geese. That one was pretty hard to debunk when there are pictures or videos of people walking around town carrying the ducks or the geese home from the park. And so there's been a lot of back and forth on this. As of today, videos are coming out in the area saying that this is true, but kind of the timeline of it is the claim went out, President Trump made the claim, in real time the debate moderator fact-checked him and said, actually, the city manager has said that that's not true. And so a lot of people have continued pushing the idea that it is happening, and then a lot of people immediately said, well, see, they said it's not true. This is the problem with these discussions, and if you're going to get into them, you do have to understand everything that's going on and all the sides of it. The same thing happened in Aurora, Colorado, literally 5 to 6 blocks down the street from the apartment my dad grew up in, with the Venezuelan gang that took over an apartment. There were claims, there were social media videos going around, hey, what's going on with this apartment? And people were calling the news stations, calling the police, calling the city, saying, hey, what's going to happen here? Is anybody doing anything about this? And the news station reassured everybody, oh, nothing's going on. The city, like elected officials are saying, don't worry about that. That's not true. That's fake news kind of thing. No, it's true, and it's something they're having to deal with. But immediately there was that, stop spreading this rumor, stop saying these things because somebody told us it's not true. That's not journalism. We called the city manager and he said it's not happening. Your job is to investigate a little farther. And so with all of that going on regarding these things, be careful with your fact check, because the same thing happened a month ago with the Olympics, with the blasphemous Last Supper recreation, and with the male-female boxer thing. I did cultural breakdown videos on both of those. Some of you might remember those. And the claim went out. The fact checkers came back. Actually, that wasn't the Last Supper. That was a Bacchanalia feast. That was Dionysius. That wasn't about Jesus. And then, that's not actually a woman. That's, is not. And there was a lot of confusion going on around it. If you go back and watch the claims, I perfectly stand behind what I said on both of them. Both of them came out to be true. It was a Last Supper recreation, as documented by the star of the thing on Instagram. It was not as I said on the video at the time, it was not a male to female or female to male transition, a la Bruce / now Caitlyn Jenner. It was a little bit more complicated like that, like I said at the time. But the fact checkers came out and said, look, Christians, we got to be real careful about the stuff that we're doing, where we hop on these bandwagons. Yeah, no, it's very important. That is true. You got to tell the truth on these things. But the fact checkers pretty much never tell the truth these days. Go back 4 years ago on the virus that went around and where it originated and how to treat it and ways to stop it from spreading. The fact checkers at this point have been documented as lying on all of those things, and yet every time this is what happened. Claim is made, fact check comes in, people tell you to shut up about it, and then the actual fact check comes out, but we've moved on at that point. The same thing is happening with this eating the dogs and cats thing. Is it was immediately fact checked as this is wrong, don't spread this around. It's starting to look like there's a lot more validity to it than the fact checkers want to give. Just calling one person and saying, is this happening? No, it's not. Okay, let's move on. You got to dig for truth. And so, as I said, if you're going to wade into this, these things are very complex. I would be just fine if somebody said, you know what, there's a lot of details. I don't really want to get my hands dirty on this. I'm not going to stick with this story down the line to see what comes of it. I'm just going to stay out of it. What you can't do is be the person who runs out with the first detail and just says it and doesn't care if it's true or not. What you also can't do is the person who checks on the first fact check and sees, oh, okay, there's the answer, it's over. You've got to dig. You've got to look into these things. And I get really tired of people rushing out with the first thing, and this happens in both directions, but rushing out with the first thing that the TV told them, and it's just settled in their mind. You've got to care about the truth enough to follow this up. And so, as a Christian, don't spread claims. You always say allegedly until it's proven true. On the other hand, if you believe the fact checker the first time, man, wake up. What year is it? How many times do we have to see these go the wrong direction? See the fact checkers are just obviously running cover for something they don't want getting out, or for a narrative that is being upheld. And so this is why people don't trust the media, is how many fact checks have been just blatant lies. And it's okay for people to distrust the media after the 37th time that that's happened. So with regard to this, are they eating the dogs and cats? I can't tell you. Like I said, evidence does seem to be mounting and moving in that direction. But here's the other point I want to get at is don't miss the point of these things. The point of the Last Supper thing at the Olympics, yeah, they blasphemed and that was really bad. You also just had drag queens on family programming in front of the entire world. That's pretty bad. We missed the point on that, where you get into the fact check and the debate and all that. The same thing with this. The real shame of this is we have to get into, are they eating dogs or cats, to realize this city is in crisis, and this matters. This matters to the people there. There's a serious problem when 20,000 outsiders are dropped on a town that does not have the resources to support them. It's not the same way of life. All of the things that are stemming from this, it matters. And so immigration matters. I have a cultural breakdown on immigration, and so check the playlist if you want to go back and view some of those. But with these things, don't get so caught up in the, well, was it a cat, or was it a dog, or what's going on here? Realize the point that it's getting to. Make sure you're telling the truth. If it's alleged, if it's unconfirmed, if you're not sure, definitely add those qualifiers, as I'm doing right here. But on the other hand, those Christians that just love to shut these things down, and again, this happened after the Olympics. If we just, quick to speak, everyone's being quick to speak. No, some people might have been. I wasn't. I don't have any problem with what I had to say. I don't have any problem with what I had to say here. I'm hedging myself with the alleged and pointing you to the real point, which is there's a real problem here, and it's okay to care about immigration. If my town, it's a similar size as Springfield, if they dropped that kind of immigration here, yeah, it would change our way of life drastically for everybody in town. These things matter. It's okay to care about these things. It's okay to not want these things. And when you start seeing weird things, it's okay to notice those things. And so, I don't know. I guess this is more of a rant against the fact checkers, the actually Christians that like to get out in front of these things. Pay attention. Stop getting duped. Stop believing the first fact check, which is zero in integrity, zero journalistic pursuit of a story, any of those things. Realize you got to dig for these kinds of things and do a little bit more digging if you're going to enter these. If you want to stay out of them, probably a good call on that front if that's your disposition. So I can't tell you if it's happening. Follow the story a little more. Realize it's always a little bit more complex than it's presented as. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do for this week's Cultural Breakdown. If you have any requests, if there's any news stories that you'd like to see me cover, if you have any thoughts on this, be sure to leave a comment. Make sure you're subscribed here on the Focus Press YouTube channel. If you don't want to watch them on video, they're on the Church Reset podcast feed and available there on my site, jackwilkie.co. I'll talk to you guys on the next one.